Our scene is coming along pretty well, and as I've said before, it's often good to do multiple parts throughout the animation. That is, don't just model everything and then just texture and then light. Sometimes it's good to jump around a little bit because you can get a better feel for how everything's coming together. So with that said, I'm going to come back here to the solution text and we're going to set up its rotation so that it can be animated later a lot easier. And all I'm going to do is just rotate out this perspective view, just kind of looking down at it like that. We're just going to do this very simply. All we're going to do is go to the Object Access tool right there on the left, select the Move tool, and we're just going to click and drag that back, keeping it relatively centered. You can see it's back there, maybe a little too far back. Okay, something about like that. So that when we go to rotate, and make sure you're rotating only on the Y channel, and let's go back to the Object tool, that when you rotate this thing, it'll come around the object. Okay, and if you need to tweak it a little bit, that's okay. We'll just do that move again, just pull it up a little bit closer, and go back to rotate. You should be good to go. Okay, so now that's rotating right around that big object. Okay, so one less thing to do later, and we'll save incremental. Now the next part, if you come over here and click into this camera view and do a render, it's looking kind of boring. So let's add a light in there. Come over here to our light, our Omni light. Let's add that in. And this is a very easy, simple light to add. Just adds a nice little point light in there. So let's select that, select our move, and let's just pull it out in front. Do a render. Okay, looks good. Looks better though with shadows. So select the light, down in your Attributes Manager. Now instead of an area light like we chose before, instead of an area shadow that is, choose a ray traced hard shadow. Okay, now suddenly has some depth to it and some interest. But that hard shadow's, well, it's a little hard. But don't worry about it just yet. And this is what I'm kind of saying, where do multiple things at the same time, because when we might think the shadow's too hard, how's it going to look when we put surfaces on? So that's what we're going to do now. But instead of building a surface like we had before, we're going to actually just use a shader that comes with Cinema 4D. And the one we're going to use is Denel. Okay, it's like a really nice car paint. And all I'm going to do is take that and drag that onto the big disk. Command R to render. Now that shadow looks a lot better with the deep red. Okay, so it looks pretty cool. So we'll do a file save. Save all that. The next thing is to do our big S right there. Now here's the thing. We had the rounding and the cap. The rounding and the cap. So to make this a little clearer, we're going to go front bevel. And this is front. The big S itself would actually be the entire object. Okay, so this here, the rounding would be back bevel. We're not going to worry about that too much. And this would be just the back. So how do I put a surface on each of these? Well, what we're going to do is come over here and we're going to go File, Shader, and let's use the new key. I'm not sure how that's said, but it is a red version, a blue version of the red one, very similar. And all we're going to do is take that and drop it onto the big S. And if I do a render here, you'll see it renders that entire object, that nice blue that matches the red. Okay, looks great, but if I come in a bit closer and render this view, well, we're not quite taking advantage of those bevels. All right, so let's do this. Let's make a copy of this. And before you do, don't fall into the same trap that you could have in the previous project. Click off of that selection. Take this guy, Command C to copy, Command V to paste. Remember, it always pastes in the front there, and we'll call this, we can even just call this bevel if you want. And then take the color, select diffuse and select the color, and just make it a light version of that. Okay, and by the way, the shader is built up of 3 specular values and some reflection. You can come in here and add a number of different things, which we're going to in a minute on the red. But for now, that works fine. Now, if this surface tag, this texture tag was still selected and I had copied and pasted and made changes, it would have changed this one as well. So it's really important to make sure that's deselected. Let's take this bevel and drop it into the big S as well. But now look what happens. Surface is the whole thing, right? That's okay. I only want this guy to be the bevel. So with that texture tag selected, take the bevel polygon tag, that's this guy, and drop it down into selection. Aha, see, now our blue is back and only our bevels have that nice surface. Okay, so if you want to manipulate that surface some more, you can just double click, change a few properties, maybe bump up the illumination, do a render, and now it's even brighter. Okay, so very easy way to work. And remember, these polygon tags are created automatically when we had beveled and capped the surface. Okay, let's do one more thing. Back to the big disk. Let's double click our Denel surface. And I'll put the anisotropic filter on. And what that will do is give our surface a really kind of nice metallic look. And it's going to change our hotspot from a round hotspot to more of a streak. So something you'd get on metal. Okay. And now that we have that, we can select our light and just tweak our light just a little bit with the move tool. I'm going to move the light over here a little and then up a little. And now we've got a nice looking setup. Okay, real nice fall off of the light. Now that's just the beginning. We're going to add some more lights. We've got to surface our text. We're going to put a background in, and then we're going to put a number of elements floating in front of this as well.